Hello, me hearties. Is that how you say it in pirate terms? Me hearties. I have the pirate swag. So I really wanted to do a nice little August wrap-up, but since I'm already going to be posting an entire video on all the Grishaverse books I read, and I'm also posting a little thriller discussion on the thriller book I read Behind Closed Doors, I don't want to talk about the same books all over again, so this wrap-up is mostly going to be about Daisy Jones, which took me a while to get through because even though it's written in an interview format, which I really actually like because usually that makes for a quicker read, I got really bored at the end, so I didn't actually want to read it anymore. Florence the Machine is written in a autobiography style where the author is interviewing former bandmates, Daisy Jones herself, Billy the lead male singer, former managers, former photographers, anyone who had anything to do with Daisy Jones and the Six, how the band got together, how they made this amazing, groundbreaking record, and how they ultimately broke up. Secrets are going to come out, and they did. So, first things first, I really like the cover, only because, look at this chick. Does she not look like, or at least give you the vibes of Florence from Florence and the Machine? Like, she's my lady, she sings to my soul, I love her. And in my head, they seem to have like very similar voices to each other. But then like the closer I looked at this cover, I realized that her teeth look kind of weird, like marble, gray marble. So now I don't think the cover's pretty anymore because all I can look at is teeth. Yeah, so throughout August I went from a thriller that had you just wanting to turn the next page, and I had another whole series with magical heists, super sexy villains, my favorite. This one, very, very character driven, set in the 70s, the era of debauchery. Also, don't do drugs, kids. Messes you up. This book is highly, highly character driven, and I think what really adds to that is that the fact that everything is written like as an interview. That way we give less time on details and places, and we're literally in maybe even like 20 perspectives throughout the entire book. But chiefly, we are with the 6 band members: Pete, Eddie, Warren, Karen, Daisy. I'm missing someone. Daisy, Billy, Karen, Graham. Can't believe I forgot Graham. I love Graham. Pete, Eddie, Warren. 7. Daisy Jones and the 6, everybody. Hey, you guys can see my laptop. So by saying this book doesn't have a plot, which could not excite many folks. You are literally just here living their lives with them, and that's fine with me. I am so for that if I really am attached to the characters. And I did get attached to characters. I got really attached to Billy, even though I did not like him at all at first. I ain't got time for cheaters, okay? But he does, how to explain it? That's just my job, I should be good at it. I would say the 2 main characters are definitely Daisy and Billy. Billy, he's gaining momentum in his music career. He's taking his band on the road. He is in love with the girl of his dreams, Kamala, but uh-oh, she's pregnant. What are we gonna do? You get married, you instantly regret it. You go have an affair with like 50 women who you don't even know their names. You take that tequila, you add some pills into it, you go nuts. But seeing how he's messing up his life, he sobers up. And that is hard to do with Daisy Jones around, that she's just throwing everything in her mouth. Yum, 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 thank you. Daisy is done, fed up with being the muse for everyone else. She's a beautiful lady, people want to make art of her, people want her on her arm. But now she's like, heck no, I'm gonna write my own stuff. People can stop writing about me. She's got this killer voice. She's gonna be the best songwriter out there. But these 2 control freaks, Billy and Daisy, they butt heads as soon as they meet. It's very interesting seeing all these really polarized attitudes, heads, characters, personalities working together in a band. You got little Graham. Now, he's not little. He's actually a big boy, but he is Billy's little brother, and that's how everybody sees him as. He's always in Billy's shadow. You got that sweet guy. You got cold, stone-faced Karen, who went from like my favorite character to my least favorite character really fast. Eddie's the hothead, who I'm pretty sure he's the one who invented like slamming your guitar on the stage and breaking it. And this is the story of how they got together, how they made this award-winning album Aurora, and how they ultimately got fed up with each other and walked off. And everyone contributed to it in separate little ways. The characters were pretty well done, I think, but my favorite part is that because this is in an interview, we get like 7 different perspectives on one night. And my favorite, I have to read it off my phone, because I want to tell you guys about it. I think it's when they play their first concert, right after Daisy breaks up with her current boyfriend. Oh, and since I'm PG most of the times on this channel, I've used a different term, baking cookies, for procreation. So, you get 5 perspectives on one night. This night, their first concert. This is what's happening before. You had Daisy baking cookies with her manager Hank. Daisy tells him finally that he and his cookies are terrible and fires him. He storms out. Billy comes in to comfort her. Warren's sitting in his room listening because Graham and Karen are baking cookies of their own loudly. And all of this leads to a concert where Daisy's band has abandoned her. Hank took them and all his cookies when she fired him. Billy does some songs with her. He takes Eddie's guitar, which Eddie doesn't like. Warren is still trying to figure out why Karen looks like she ate a really good cookie. And after the show, Eddie busts his guitar rock and roll style because he's so mad at Billy for taking his guitar when he's the guitarist. Billy has no idea what's going on. Daisy's having the best night ever. Eddie is probably planning a murder. And Karen or Graham are fantasizing on what cookies they'll bake next. It's awesome because it's all happening in one moment, but you're seeing it from like 7 sets of eyes. 7 totally different emotions, and I think it kind of pulled at each other hilariously. And if I just ruined cookies for you, I'm sorry. One of my favorite aspects was seeing, even though it's in the 70s, the behind-the-scenes creativity, working aspect of getting a band together, writing music, how people like get their inspiration from little things or awful things, heart-wrenching things. And Billy and Daisy, as much as they hated each other in the beginning, they worked extremely well. The banter, dialogue, it was all very natural. It was funny. It was a funny book. There was one time where someone said a pun, and I only got it like 3 pages afterwards. I was like, oh, the song's called Turn It Off. I get it. But as much as I liked the format, the characters, just seeing the creative process of writing a song, I was still kind of bored. I mean, I really get it. There's a lot of action, like, you know, oh, rock and roll, dancing, cookies baked in the over there, and cookies filled with questionable substances. Cookies, man, cookies. But I mean, you can get kind of tired of that really quickly if you're not into cookies. A lot of these characters made awful decisions. So full points for morally great characters. Great. Half of them weren't likable. Actually, 2 of them weren't likable. I wasn't that fond of Daisy, to be honest. She made horrible decisions. And Billy, I did not like Billy in the beginning because he didn't have his head together, basically. But he reformed and he made the effort to be a better man, and I really liked that. I'm gonna get into some spoilerish things, so be gone if you don't want to hear this. I mean, like, reading the back of it, you know the band's gonna break up eventually, and like, I knew already it was gonna be because Billy and the lead singer would fall in love and they just couldn't make it work out for some reason. Oh, why? Because Billy's married. So there wasn't like, ooh, scandalous. Like, I knew it was gonna happen. I did like it when Daisy, like, she told that reporter that Billy had an affair with his wife, and then Billy shoots back, oh, well, I can't stand Daisy Jones. And the reporter's like, well, that would make a better article than just some rock star having an affair. That happens every day. So, like, it's out there now in published print that Daisy Jones and Billy hate each other, and that just makes more people come to their shows, and it's good publicity. And Daisy and Billy, he backslid a little bit. He said some things he shouldn't have said to Daisy. Daisy definitely knew he was married and shouldn't have, like, pressed on. But ultimately, when they were going in for a kiss, Billy stopped himself like, I can't. And Daisy flipped out. I mean, girl, he's married. And then later on, she's like, he owes me an apology. And I'm like, no, he doesn't. He didn't kiss you, and you're not entitled to reciprocated feelings. And then what does she do? She goes to Thailand and get married to an Italian prince. Don't do drugs. And then there's that whole plot twist where Gasp, the author of this book, not Taylor Jenkins Reid, yeah. No, like Julia Dune, Billy's daughter, is the one typing the interview, doing the interview. And I was just like, okay, that's unnecessary. Like, it doesn't add anything to the plot. It's just like, well, that's weird. It didn't add anything to the story, so you might have had to change what Billy said in the ending a bit, but other than that, it had no effect on the story. Honestly, I give this book a 3 because the characters themselves and the drama they make, because they're all pretty crazy, don't do drugs. That drama itself, that drives the book, but I think it really lacks, like, rereadability, because ultimately it's really just about a band making songs songs and singing songs. I got so mad at Karen at one point, and that really like I didn't want to read anymore because of her. And oh, she was stringing Graham along. Gosh, Graham, he's the I want to be a family man so bad, and Karen's the I'm just here for the cookies lady. And I think that is very cruel. Like, baking cookies with a man you know loves you to pieces, and you know you're never going to love him as much as he loves you. You're stringing him along, you're promising him a future that will never happen, and you suck. You miserable excuse for a human. You probably look like this, Karen. I liked you at first because you reminded me from Stanley from The Office. You took nothing from no one, and I hope Graham found a better woman than you. I don't know if he did. I can't remember if he got married. Whoops. Reading comprehension skills still lacking. Those are my thoughts. I think it's a nice book for a one-time read. It's likable, but not like groundbreaking, in my opinion. I really like the format it's done with. Very creative, and it's entirely dialogue. So if you're not into that can be a big turnoff, but I'm fine with that. I have not read Evelyn Hugo yet. I don't know if that's entirely in an interview formula format either. I hope it is. But anyways, the one thing I couldn't stop thinking about in this book is how, so Daisy Jones is born in 1951, I think, and this interview is done, I believe, maybe after 2012. So these characters who were rock and roll icons in the 70s are now 60 or 70 years old. So like in my head when I'm reading this, they sound like people my age, but with a cooler, smoother voice. But I know like in the reality of the book, this is what they probably sound like, and it's hilarious.
I used to order champagne and coffee together, and at the places where servers knew me, I used to call it an up and down. Sometimes to keep me up, sometimes to keep me down. And this guy thought it was hilarious. He said, I'm going to use that in something one day. And he wrote it down on a napkin and put it in his back pocket. I thought to myself, what the heck makes you think I'm not going to use it in something one day? But of course, there it was in his next movie. That's how it was back then. I was just supposed to be the inspiration for some man's great idea. But that's why I started writing my own stuff. I had absolutely no interest in being someone else's muse. I am not a muse. I am somebody. End of story.